And welcome to the Midday Show. No 30-second countdown today, coming straight to you. We've got a giant squid statue. We're going to debate how real boxing is anymore. And then you and I have a neat story about COVID dating, because it's a new thing, right? How do you actually go about meeting people? What matters anymore? And then we're going to talk about some things we're looking forward to seeing on our screens coming up. But first, Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I am good. And I just want to make this is my little public service announcement. This weekend is Mother's Day, second Sunday of May. I never realized this till I got older, and I had a mother and then had a wife and had kids and all this stuff. And when your mother is like grandparents' age and the kids aren't around all the time and they don't want to do anything exciting in life anymore, they just want to see the kids and see the family, then having like these Mother's Day dinners they're a big deal. When you're when the mother that you're dealing with has kids, like whether they're young, anywhere still in school, where like being a mother is a full-time job and they are on cleanup duty, setup duty, all this stuff. Like on Mother's Day, what you should really do if you love them is say, go away, go with your friends, go shopping, and don't worry about anything in the house.
It should almost be like a personal day.
It is. And I never thought about it until then. They're like, on Father's Day, what do you guys do? You go golfing, you go hang out with, like on Father's Day, you just abandon ship and you get to do it whatever you want. On Mother's Day, you think you're creating something that's lovable for us, but all it creates is more work, and all we do is work around the house every day anyway. So these people who like, oh, we'll invite everybody over to our house and we'll have Mother's Day dinner, you just don't get it. And if you said, if she's 67 years old, then that's what she wants for Mother's Day, and it's great. But if she's 37 years old and she has kids running around, that's not great.
Especially if she's the homemaker or the home tender, because that's what she does every day. That's not Mother's Day. She's already cooking food and preparing a meal and making sure everyone's comfortable and having people come in the house and cleaning up after they leave the house. I'm with you.
And they know if you host people at your house on Mother's Day, even if it's Mother's Day, the people that are going to judge, they're not going to say, oh, well, the husband and the kids didn't clean up the house today. They're going to judge the woman. And then afterwards, even though dad and the kids say, we'll help you clean up, they won't, because they don't. So the whole, you should just go from 9 o'clock in the morning until whatever, you just go. Or it's like, as we were talking about the quiet game, the kids, you can't speak to your mother today. She's invisible, and she is just going to lounge around the house, and you're not going to bother her.
I like the idea of thinking of it as a personal day. It should just be a personal day. I don't want to call it a sick day, but it should be a personal day.
Yes, they should be allowed to check out.
Yes.
And just be like, don't call me, don't text me. I may be in New York I may be in Miami for all you know.
Right.
This is when I'm leaving. This is when I'll be back. You people function without me. That is, Mother's Day should be a day off from being a mother and let dad handle everything.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. I'm excited to see mine. The first story we have today, and it kind of goes into COVID relief money. It's flying around. There's a ton of it. There's more and more every day, it feels like, across the globe. However, a town in Japan recently just spent, I don't know if you got a chance to actually see the numbers behind this. They spent $230,000 basically erecting a 43-foot squid statue in their town. The idea, the way they're tying it to COVID relief is it's supposed to attract tourism once COVID is over. So that's how they're trying to attach it. But $230,000 for a squid statue, personally, I feel like it's a hard sell.
Oh, I think it's perfect. When they came down and said, we need to support people and we need COVID relief money, on the short list of things, they were like food and rent and big stupid statues of sea creatures. Those were the top three things that they, maybe
Can I just
maybe
say,
they'll get the last laugh. Maybe it'll work, but
Maybe.
I'm with you. I think it's ridiculous.
maybe now that the news is pumping it up and it's becoming a story, but this, like, maybe I'm offending people by saying this. Who's still basing their trips around statues? Like, if it's not in Washington, D.C., who is going to a location to take a picture with a statue in the year 2021?
So you're saying the Chevy Chase trip across country to see the world's biggest ball of twine, that doesn't do it for you anymore?
When was that movie made? Like in
81.
I'm just in
No, I'm with you.
2021, who's going to see a statue?
I'm with you.
And maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe in Japan, like maybe in Asian culture, like I don't know, like maybe you go on these tours and you see the different statue in every town. I don't know. But to me, it just doesn't seem like the tourism attraction that I would be looking for in my community to drive people in.
Well, I will say this, and I am far from an expert on Japanese culture, but when you look at like Godzilla, and Godzilla is a creature from the sea, and because they're an island nation, and so they probably, as we're here, like a squid, like we have King Kong, who is a big gorilla who climbs buildings, and we're like, they have a sea creature that comes up. So the fact that it to them, it probably means a lot more than it was. We'd be like a squid. Squid would be like the 983rd thing on our list. To them, I think it's of more importance. But yeah. I agree with you. Like, this is not what they had in mind when they're like, COVID relief.
The last bit of math behind it, the Noto, which is a fishing town where the statue now stands, they received about $7.3 million, 800 million yen, comes out to 7.3 million. So essentially, it's like a 30th of their COVID relief was put into this statue. I don't know if that makes it better or worse. I still think it's still awful. I mean,
if it becomes
a site, if it becomes something to see,
yes, it could work. I agree with you. If their idea was touristy, maybe it works. And I don't know. I guess we're going to see the squid.
If State College erected a huge Nittany lion for $50,000, would you go see it?
I wouldn't, but there's a lot of people that would.
But you think people that would. And maybe that's the concept. Maybe the squid represents...
and it ain't going anywhere. Like, it's going to be... The shelf life of this squid is more than most squids, so...
I will say this. I'm more torn than ever before about what is the best way to give relief or funding during a crisis or when something happens. Because my original gut was go directly to the people, let them have it and let them use it. But after watching people use their stimulus and the way they're using it, I kind of floated back towards like, maybe it's better that an oversight, somebody overseeing something. But now, like, again, when you have somebody overseeing something, you end up with a 43-foot pink squid. So I keep going back and forth about what is the best way to give this stuff out.
But we'll go back to the Chevy Chase films. Just like the Jelly of the Month Club, this could be the gift that keeps giving
for a long time.
Who knows? And maybe they build around it. Maybe they're trying to build tourism in their little fishing community. And they're like, how else could we ever do it? And it can't be something nice. Like I saw something on the Sunday morning news about in one of the New York City airports that there was this fancy art thing hanging from the ceiling, and the artist described how they did it. And they were talking about, in the world now, does it make sense that we're spending money on art things that hang from the ceilings in airports? And they discussed the pros and cons and why and all that stuff. But if they'd have done something that's artsy but just not, like, the ridiculousness makes it, this is the Sharknado version of
airport art.
Of this. So it may actually work because it's so outlandish, and it's this bright pink squid.
We'll see. There's only one way to find out.
Should we go? Should we schedule a trip?
We might have to. We might have to. Maybe once I see it, my whole perspective will change. I don't know. You and I hinted at this earlier. There was a fight. Floyd Mayweather is going to fight Logan Paul. And the best way to classify this is it's a Hall of Famer basically going up against somebody I would argue is still amateur status,
Oh, yeah.
The idea that this fight is happening, the idea that one person is willing to fight the other is amazing. And then the idea that this person was able to get this fight, I mean, only in 2021 could this happen. There was an incident yesterday. They kind of were in each other's face. The Paul brother tried to steal Mayweather's hat. You know, there was a quote unquote brawl. I don't really know if it was a brawl though, because no punches were swung.
No, then that's not a brawl.
Yeah,
for people that are my age who don't know who Logan Paul is, he is a YouTube sensation. He, like, everyone under the age of 25 knows very well who Logan Paul is, and his brother is
Jake
Paul. Yes. Now, the thing about these two, if you would immediately think, oh, they're YouTube guys and they're all these, that they're dorky, whatever. Like, one of them was a state champion wrestler, and the other was a really good wrestler.
Yes. The one thing if you want to use the word fake around like the idea of them being a professional, yes, but you can't say they're not athletes, I think is what you're saying.
And they are tough guy athletes. They weren't golfers. They weren't tennis players.
They are athletes.
So it's a novelty fight, and it's kind of a joke fight, but it's not that much of a joke fight. Like this is the dude that almost killed the NBA player, right?
Yes.
What was his name? Nate Robinson?
Nate Robinson.
That, like, if you haven't seen that punch, go just Google Nate Robinson punch, and he got knocked into next week.
It's not like Mayweather's just going to back him into a corner and just pummel the crap out of him. But it's still like it didn't feel real yesterday. The whole thing yesterday of them meeting up, and like you hinted at the idea that you had heard they're having trouble selling tickets.
I bet it was staged.
Okay, it felt staged, and it's just, it takes me back to the first time I ever felt like boxing was staged was Mayweather Pacquiao. Like it just didn't feel. I'm not saying they were holding back punches, but it had a like scripted feel to it, and maybe that's because everyone thought Mayweather was going to win, and sure enough, he did. He barely got touched. But since then, in the last 5 years, it has felt more and more and more. You use the word WWE, and yes, like it feels more and more WWE-esque than ever before.
Well, the MMA is so much more riveting as a combat sport and I never thought I would like MMA, and my son loves MMA, so that's why I watch it. But it is so much better as a combat sport than boxing is. So that's why, Mayweather, you can't get a fight that people really care about. So he fights Conor McGregor. And that made a lot of money because it just became must-see TV, just like a big pink 43-foot squid. You just had to see it.
Right.
So now he's going to fight Logan Paul, and there's more interest to the world. He can't fight a boxer that's interesting. The world doesn't care. So he fights Conor McGregor. Now he fights Logan Paul. Yeah. Maybe the next time there'll be a tag team. And if he's beating the crap out of one Paul brother, he can go tag, and then he tries to beat. But isn't Logan Paul much bigger?
So that was what I was going to say to you. I knew he was much bigger, and then I just saw here. He almost has half a foot on him. And then they're saying that his reach is significantly bigger than what they had expected. Like, I guess Mayweather and his crew did not expect his measurables to be what they were. I'm not saying that means Mayweather is nervous, but I mean, this should be the tallest, longest person he's ever boxed.
Yes, this is the equivalent to Rocky Balboa fighting Thunder Lips.
Yeah. Yes. It's not a perfect, but yes, I can't dispute.
Whenever you can pull a Rocky 3 reference, you want to do it because that is the most entertaining of all the Rocky movies. I mean, a Rocky, the original, is iconic, all that stuff. Yeah. The one that is purely the most fun is Rocky 3.
Before we move on, did you watch the Mayweather Pacquiao fight?
Mm-hmm.
Did it feel real?
It just seemed like Pacquiao's older.
Yes.
And Mayweather, even though Mayweather wasn't young, but Pacquiao was older. And Mayweather had more reach. And you just kind of realized early on that Mayweather's like, he can't touch me.
No.
So if I land 3 punches a round, I'm going to win this round 3 punches to 0. Yeah. And there was just nothing.
And maybe that's what made me feel the way
it made it so. It was one of the most boring fights you will ever see.
Did you watch the McGregor one?
Yes.
Did that one feel? That one to me felt almost, I hate to use the word staged, but there was this idea, like there was a rhythm to it of like now this is happening, and now that it didn't feel very real.
I thought
there wasn't a natural boxing flow to it.
I thought with that one, because he has no boxing, I mean, he has MMA film of McGregor, but never against a boxer, and you have to defend yourself differently in MMA because you can get kicked at any time. So it's I think the first couple rounds, McGregor is like, or not McGregor, Mayweather's like, I am going to just study. And I'm going to figure out what he's trying to do. I figure out I'm also going to wear him down because his longest fights are 25 minutes. And but I'm just going to make sure I don't get hurt before I figure out how this guy fights. And then once he figured it out, he kind of dominated from there on out.
Yeah.
But I actually thought it was, I know what you're saying. I just thought it was very guarded and intelligent of Mayweather that he's like, unless I do something stupid, I'm not going to lose.
It'll be interesting to see how this one feels. Go ahead. Let's thank Weiss Markets.
Thank you to Wise Markets. The wheel's not up yet because I didn't have time and we didn't schedule it. But next week, over the week, I just need a weekend. So we will have the wheel back up. So all your Mother's Day stuff, whether it be candy, whether it be flowers. You know when is a bad time to buy your mother candy and flowers? Never. But you know when everyone does it? Mother's Day. You can obviously get the cards there, all this stuff. On Sunday morning, do you know how many dudes will be lined up at the card rack at Wise Markets? Lots of them, because we don't get anything till the last day. But for all your stuff, Mother's Day related, or you can even just do the shopping for mom one day on the week. Or maybe you could let her go shopping and just say, hey, go shopping for like 6 hours and go to Wise Markets on the way. But thank you to Wise Markets. And we will have their gift cards back on the wheel starting on Monday when we're giving away more stuff.
Nice. All right. We thought, since you had informed me, I did not know this, that it is No Pants Day.
Of course you knew it. That's why you came in with no pants on.
I had no idea. So we figured, since it's No Pants Day, maybe we would talk about some COVID dating data and some things that are kind of changing in the dating world. How did No Pants Day get started?
Well, I'd heard there's multiple stories. I'd heard one, and it was something about a reminder of homeless shelters and that, fortunate we should donate our old used clothing to places that need them when we don't. The story I read was it was a college in Texas. Maybe it was University of Texas, or I don't know.
It was about inclusion or something.
Oh no, I heard that it was after finals, and they were just like, kids took as an act of like, we're finally done. They just took their pants off and walked back to their dorm across campus with no pants on, and then it kind of spread from there. Whether that's true, I know there's another story of a guy. There's a No Pants Day on the subway that I have seen pictures of this before. That supposedly the guy had a meeting and he ran in and he asked his wife, "Can you iron my pants real quick?" And he was so flustered about the meeting that he just kind of left and claimed that he forgot his pants and didn't realize it because he was so worked up with what he was trying to do that he was on the subway when he realized he had no pants on. And then after that, he just tried to make it act like it was no big deal. That sounds a little hokey to me, but I read that too. So I don't really know where No Pants Day came from, but it is the first Friday in May, and that is today. So congratulations on No Pants Day. If you wore pants to work, you overdressed. That's why Jeff and I are sitting here with no pants on.
Yes, that's probably the most clickbaity rant you've ever had. So here's the deal, and you and I disagree on this. There is an article on MSNBC, and basically it's about how people are dating and what they're doing after their vaccination. And the most popular question right now on dating apps, before asking for age and all this stuff, and some of this stuff is already posted, so they don't necessarily have to ask for it. But the first question is, are you vaccinated? And to me, there's a lot of different ways to go off of that. But the first one, and we'll start here because we disagreed, to me, the question is like a yes or no, I'm done with you or I'm in with you, based off of that one answer.
I don't think. I think there is value to the question, as you're saying. I don't think it's the make or break like you think. I think it's an icebreaker. And how many times in the world, as a young dating person, are you looking for that conversation starter? And right now in the world, there is no bigger conversation starter.
But you would never start with, like, the first question you would ask. You would never say, like, do you smoke? You would never start with that question.
No, but
because
but
the
do you smoke
reason
isn't
you
all
don't,
that topical.
no, but the reason that you don't is because that you use the word icebreaker. The reason you don't start with do you smoke is because that's not an icebreaker, it's a deal breaker for a lot of people. And in my opinion, asking you if you're vaccinated, I think people are asking it not as an icebreaker. I think they're asking it as a deal breaker.
See, I don't. And you may be right. I'm not saying I'm right. I think they're asking it as an icebreaker because they're like, it has to come up in conversation early, because how many other questions can you ask? No, it does say something
Anything.
about the person.
You could ask anything.
But I get that. But there is no more in 2021, in the spring of 2021, there is no more topical conversation than, are you vaccinated? Like, what else is more on people's minds? Are you going to say, hey, did you watch?
Yes.
I mean, there's no NBA playoffs. There's no how you.
What did you do today? Like, there's
You don't. But you wouldn't go up in the second question. You're going to ask as you're trying to strike up conversation. You wouldn't look at a chick and say, "What did you do today?"
I'm not.
She's like, "I went to work." What did you do?
I wouldn't be walking up to him and like nudging him and being like, "Hey, Pfizer and Moderna." Like, it doesn't. I just
see. I think it's funny. I think you're in there.
I think it's funny too. But you think it's an icebreaker. I think it's a deal breaker.
No.
I think if I'm a 25-year-old dude or chick, I'm basically asking because if I'm vaccinated and you're not, peace out. And if I'm not vaccinated, maybe I'm a non-vaxxer and you are vaccinated, I'm just going to give up because like you're never going to actually want to meet me if I'm never vaccinated. I think it's a deal breaker.
Maybe I'm looking at this differently than, and maybe I don't remember what it's like to be 25 because it was like half of my life ago. I think a 25-year-old is not starting a conversation with a chick in a bar looking for Miss Right. I think a 25-year-old is starting a conversation in a bar looking for Miss Tonight. And I don't think he cares what the answer is. I really don't. I think he's looking for a good time. And if anything to create the conversation, she could say, I got the Johnson & Johnson. She could say, I got the Moderna. She could say, I'm not getting one. I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares what the answer is. I think he only cares that he can strike up a conversation.
You have a daughter. Actually, you have two.
I have two.
Okay. Let's fast forward 5 years from now.
Okay.
Let's imagine your daughter was 22, 23.
Yes.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yes. One of them, I have a 17.
If your daughter was 23 right now, and that was her first question, is your daughter asking that as an icebreaker, or is that a deal breaker for your daughter? Because what I think is it would be a deal breaker.
I think it's
her.
both. I think it's both. Well, I don't. But you said it's the most prominent question.
It's the number one first question asked on these dating apps.
Wait. It's the number one first question?
Yes.
Or it's the most common question?
It is the conversation. It's the number one conversation starter on these apps.
Because that's why I think it's a conversation starter.
No, but see, I think what it is it's an extra filter to what they're already, because when you do these dating apps, a lot of them, like, you have to check, like, are you a smoker? Are you not a smoker? Do you drink or do you not drink? Do you have religious beliefs? Do you not? What they don't have a filter for right now is, are you vaccinated or are you not
And
vaccinated?
I get that. So let me ask you this. So you're 25 years old, which you're not, but when you were 25 years old, you're in a bar and you want to go talk to a girl. Give me your line. What do you say? Because don't say you walk up to a stranger and say, what did you do today? I mean, obviously you don't do that. So what's...
Well, no. A lot of times it's like has something to do, like, are they wearing something that I can associate with? I can tell
pants, for example.
Like pants, like no pants day. Are they wearing pants? So I can walk up and be like, why
do you have pants on?
No. A lot of times I would try to see if there was something associated that somewhere I had been before, somebody that I knew from there, like stuff like that. But it was never like, I can't imagine walking up to somebody and my very first thing that I say or ask them is like, do you smoke? Do you drink? Do you believe in God? Like, those would never be the first questions I would ask, because to me, those are filtering questions. And I'm not filtering, I'm just trying to engage. And to me, the irony is the first question these people are asking now is a filtering question. To me, it's no longer an engagement question.
I'm not totally disagreeing with you. I'm not saying that people don't use it as a filtering, but I think it's more of a conversation. Like for tonight, for any youngsters that are watching us, if there's a chick in a bar and you want to go talk to her, just go up to her and say, you know, you're not supposed to have pants on right now. And you are like you have started the conversation, because she's gonna look at it and just say, just Google it. Just Google it, no pants day. And then she's gonna be like, oh my God, you're right, there's no pants day. And you're in. Now, you know, I mean, you're not in, but at least you have created a conversation. So just, it's interesting, like walk up, say, Johnson & Johnson or Moderna.
Now, see, that's funny. If you word it that way, it's funny. Like if you walk up and you're like Moderna or Pfizer, and if you're Moderna and they're Pfizer, you go, oh, no.
Well, and if she doesn't know what you're talking about, then you've just filtered. Because if she's like, what do you mean, Johnson & Johnson? Then she's out. Or she's just had too many beverages so far and she can't have a conversation, which is always a possibility too. So, no,
she or he, by the way. Your examples are always, you never put it on the other shoe.
Yes, because when we, you know, I can't talk about, you know, trying to pick up guys because it never, but, you know, anyway, but here's the other thing. Like, I never walked up to a stranger in a bar and started a conversation.
Yeah, you're not very personable.
But no, it's just not, I've never gone out of my way to be like, you know, because you're always there with friends, like conversation happens. Like you create conversations with people that, like, the way I always met new people in bars is they were friends with people I was with. And then they came up and started talking, and you're like, oh, after a while, but yeah.
You're not casting your net as far as you could have.
I was not a net caster.
Okay.
No, I was not.
Real quick, let's run through these. Coming soon. We thought it'd be fun. Like a bunch of new trailers came out. Different things are coming to your screen soon. So we thought we'd go through some of our favorites or the ones we're looking forward to the most. I have a Top Gun story, but real quick, what do you want to say about the new Top Gun?
Well, the new Top Gun is coming, I think, in July. The old Top Gun, it's the 35th anniversary, and they're showing it next Thursday, I want to say, on AMC theaters. And I know you don't get it because you are too young. There was a time in American history where if you wanted to be cool, all you had to do is say, I feel the need for speed. And like just saying it, I feel like I should puff my chest out a little bit.
I'm shocked right now that you never approached random girls in bars to talk to them.
And sang Righteous Brothers songs to them.
Yeah,
and
no, I'm sorry.
no.
I've told you this story before, so I'll try to make it as quickly as possible. One of the first girlfriends I ever had, her father passed away unexpectedly, unfortunately. And so months after that, I asked her what she wanted to do, and she was like, I want to watch my dad's favorite movie. And I was like, great, like, let's do it. And her dad's favorite movie was Top Gun. I had never seen Top Gun. I'm probably 20-ish, like 19 at this point, had never seen Top Gun. So I go, great, let's watch it. All I know is that it's about fighter jets. That's it. We start watching this movie, and like there are scenes like 20, 30 minutes in where I'm laughing, like almost hysterically, because they are cheesy and kind of corny. And if you've never seen it in the context of like what it's supposed to be, it's a comedy now. Like in the year 2010, it was a comedy. So I start laughing, and she looks at me dead serious, and she's like, why are you laughing? And I just kind of looked back at her like, it's hilarious. Like this was a good choice. Like I see why your dad liked it. And she just looks at me and she's like, it's not supposed to be a comedy. So needless to say,
there's nothing funny about Iceman. Iceman was intense.
Needless to say, I ruined that one.
You're dangerous. That's right, Iceman. I am dangerous.
So that's my Top Gun story. The other movie that's coming out soon, you have not seen the original Quiet Place.
I have not.
Okay, Quiet Place 2 is coming out late spring, early summer. And they are basically making it out. A lot of movie theater companies are viewing it as something they held on to. The movie has been finished for almost a full year and a half. This is the movie that movie theaters are saying, like, you have to come and see it because it's quiet, it's a thriller, and you kind of need to be around other people to get like the full effect, the full feel of like being somewhere. And if like someone makes a whisper, like everyone in the theater's like, shh, and like trying to hush them. So Quiet Place 2, I am really excited for.
Well, now I don't know if I've ever heard anyone talk about it. Like I will go watch the first one. I told you, I just thought it seemed like too much work. Like if it's that quiet and you have to watch the whole time, it's like when people are like, oh, let's go watch a movie with subtitles, I was like, oh, geez, because this is going to be effort now.
No.
So that's kind of how I felt it. It's that you're going to be on edge and you're going to be tense, and I'm going to have to like pay uber attention because they're not going to say anything. So I've got to watch the whole time. So I will watch it now. Since you highly recommend it, I will watch it. So I am ready for Quiet Thing 2.
Quiet Place 2.
Whatever.
And I should also, I'm not a scary movie fan, as you know. So for me to be like highly recommending a scarier thriller really says how good it is.
You're not a horror movie guy. You're more of a comedy guy like Top Gun.
Like Top Gun, yes. I like to laugh at.
So when you watched The Naked Gun, did you realize that was a comedy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Enrico Palazzo?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, good.
Okay. And then last but not least, the long-awaited, I don't want to call it a full trailer. It was kind of like a teaser trailer for the new Stranger Things 4 on Netflix. Was just released. People are already like breaking down the film, and they're already finding like the little things and little Easter eggs and like things to kind of hint what may be coming for season 4. I ended up binging this past October with my girlfriend, and we fell in love with it. You watched it kind of as the seasons came along.
I watched, yes. I think it's brilliant too. And I do not watch episodic television. Yeah. This is one of those, I watched it with my kid because it kind of became a family event. And my daughter had watched the first season and wanted to rewatch it before the second season came up. So we binged season 1 right before the release of season 2. And if you have not, if you're one of those people that, I have a Stranger Things t-shirt now because my kids bought it for me. Like she has a poster hanging in her wall. If you have not seen it, it is brilliantly done, I think. And are
you ready? You'll appreciate this because I have expressed to you several times my problem with 80s movies is they don't feel like they were ready. The concepts were good, the ideas were good, but like the graphics weren't there yet, and like the animatronics weren't there yet, and like nothing was actually ready. To me, Stranger Things is what the 80s movies would have felt like if they were ready for it. Like if they had the graphics.
Here's my follow-up to that. Yeah. For all of us who realized that the 80s were the high point of Western civilization. What year were you born?
I'm 87.
So it wasn't that the 80s weren't ready for the 80s. It's that you weren't ready for the 80s. So that's why you don't, and you'll never get it. It's like when you go back and watch a classic movie, and I watched these, with James Dean, and I was like, God, this is slow and this is dull. And they're like, but at the time, like, you just don't get it.
But I like stuff before it. It's just this window in time where it felt like everyone was pushing forward, but we weren't there yet.
There was a layer of cheesy that went with 80s, but it's...
So all I'm saying is Stranger Things takes all the things that I respect about the 80s,
which is a very short list.
No, and just brings it to now where like we're ready for it. Like we were ready, like the graphics and everything, and like even the creatures and stuff in the show, like we're just ready for it now.
One of the things that I liked about Stranger Things is the kind of rebirth of Winona Ryder, and who was a very talented kid and had went through her issues. And it's almost like, I don't know if she had trouble getting any jobs or could get any jobs, but when you watch this, you're like, wow, she can act. And now so I liked that too. But she was like the only name in the whole thing. Like everybody else was nobody.
Yeah, no, that'll be the other interesting one of season 4 is the kids, because they're not really kids anymore.
No.
And that'll be the jump, the leap. Like it won't feel like it's been away for 6 months, for 12 months. It's gonna feel like these kids are 5 years older because they've just made that leap.
Yeah, I can't believe there's like anyone breathing out there that hasn't seen Stranger Things. But if you haven't, and the little girl that plays 11 is just out of this world.
She was on Netflix. She was in the new, they did like a Sherlock Holmes, but I believe they called it Enola Holmes. So it's like it's his sister.
Okay.
And it's her, and she is great in it. She's really good.
Fantastic.
Really good. All right. Anything else you wanna
No, that's it. Enjoy Mother's Day.
Yes.
Just think less is more. And I mean, like less time with you, less time with the kids, unless they're old. If they're old, then that's what they want. because they want, and that's kind of how parenthood goes. You want kids, then your kids won't leave you alone. You want them to leave you alone, then all they do is leave you alone, then you want them to come back. So it just depends where they're at in that scale. But if they have kids underfoot every day, then let them get the hell out.
And I want to say a special happy Mother's Day to my mom. She has had let's call it an exhausting 2 years. So just want to say happy Mother's Day to her. Love you, appreciate you. And do you want to try to one-up me or?
No, I was just going to tell you, my mother every year she's like, "Don't get me anything. I don't need any more crap." So that is, and I was like, well, that's good because that's exactly what I got you. I got you nothing for Mother's Day.
There you go. And right on cue. I don't know if she typed this out before or after. Make a shout out to your mother. So I'm not sure if we beat her to the punch or if she's going to think now that she had to say that in order for us to do it. We'll find out.
In my mother's world, every day is Mother's Day, and she knows it.
I can't top that one. But also but she also is going to know you're full of crap. So I don't think I need to compete with
Well, I think she's known that for a while, but I think I sold it with sincerity.
All right. Again, thank you to Weiss Markets for being our title sponsor. We will be back Monday with the prize wheel. In order to be entered to win, join the Midday Show Facebook group. You'll automatically have a chance to win, have your name drawn. And if your name is drawn, then we spin the prize wheel for you with some Weiss gift cards, some stuff from Moon and Raven, Eat and Run Catering, The Break Room, all of these places, and we're going to keep it going. Anything else?
I will say this too. This is for our Mother's Day. I was just given the announcement that my brother and his wife are taking her out to dinner. So I am like, yes, yes. It is always good to have a wealthy sibling who can handle all this stuff. So it's off your plate.
I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina. Thanks for watching the Midday Show at NorthcentralPA.com.
I'll see you.